Hello, YouTube world. I was asked by Jessica to share my story, and at first I was a little nervous because this story is very hard for me to tell, so there might be tears. But I feel really strongly that Jessica's channel is going to empower a lot of people, and it's going to show the world that we don't have to suffer alone, that we each have something that is hard to go through, and we can help each other and support each other. So, my story begins at 26 weeks along with my third child. I went in for a routine checkup. I was going to have my test done for gestational diabetes, and so I had my friend watching my oldest two children. And so I was there alone. My husband was at work, and I thought, this will be fine. Just go in, get poked with a needle, hear the heartbeat, and then I'll be on my way. So I went back with the doctor, and he put the Doppler on my belly, and he couldn't find a heartbeat. And he told me, sometimes it's hard to find the heartbeat with the Doppler, so let's just go into the ultrasound room, and that way I can actually see it as well as hear it better. So we went back to the ultrasound room, and I was starting to get nervous. The doctor spent a lot of time checking the heart rate, and I've had 2 successful pregnancies that have gone full term, and so I've heard heartbeats before at this point of pregnancy, and I could tell that her heartbeat was slow. And the doctor, he told me that he needed to go make a few phone calls, and that the heart rate was a little bit slow, but he would be right back. And so he left me in that dark ultrasound room with my thoughts. I was very nervous and scared, and just staring at that screen with the picture of my beautiful baby girl. He came back in the room and he told me, her heart rate is slow. It is half as fast as it should be at this point in gestation. And she might be going into heart failure at this time, and we need to prepare for delivery. So, he took me by the arm, and he led me down the hall to labor and delivery, because I was actually in the hospital where I would deliver. And so I got checked in. I didn't have time to call my husband. I just sent him a text that said, come to Riverton Hospital right now. We might be having a baby today. And I called his family. I called my family. I didn't know much, but I told them what I did know. We didn't know yet if we were going to deliver, so I told my parents to stay at work. Tyson's mom was already in the area, so she came to the hospital, and I checked on the kids. I had a brother-in-law pick up Abe and Monet, my 2 oldest. And then I laid in the hospital bed while lots of nurses, lots of medical assistants, lots of doctors came in and out. We had ultrasound technicians come in who would check the heartbeat. I was hooked up to monitors. I was very, very scared. They didn't quite know what was going on with my baby. There's her little squeak in the corner. So they told me that we were prepping for delivery. And then my doctor called the University of Utah Hospital, and he spoke with the pediatric cardiologist, and he said, this is the heart rate of this little girl. What should we do? And it just so happened that one of the gestational cardiologist specialists was in Riverton Hospital just visiting. He wasn't there for work, he was just there. And so he came up and he checked my baby and he said, "Do not deliver this baby today. If you deliver her now, she will not make it." And so they told me, go home, rest, and in the morning go to the University of Utah for a fetal echocardiogram. And so we went home that night. We held our babies. We cried. I got a priesthood blessing, and we tried to stay as calm as we could. We went to the University of Utah the next morning, and we found out that our little baby has what they call complete heart block. That means that her communication center in her heart is not working, and so the top half of the heart does not communicate with the bottom half of the heart. I was told that she would need a pacemaker, and it could be needed right when she delivers. She might wait a few years, but the pacemaker would be needed to keep her heart beating and keep her alive. I was then tested very thoroughly, blood tests and different things, and we found out that I have an autoimmune disease called lupus, and the antibodies that are associated with lupus are the same antibodies that can attack a fetal heart, and they're the same things that caused my baby's heart to lose the communication center. So essentially, my body attacked my baby's body. And that was the worst news that I could find out. I felt so much guilt. I caused this pain for my baby. And as a mom, you never want to see your baby in pain, let alone be the one that is the reason for that pain. So I was under bed rest. I did not have to stay at the hospital. I was able to have bed rest at home. And I was on bed rest for a few weeks, and then they kept checking me. They kept checking me 3 times a week to make sure she was still growing, that her heart wasn't slowing down any further. And after a couple of weeks, I was able to go back to work part-time. I kept going into the doctor 3 times a week. And that's where I'm going to end part 1, because as you can hear, little baby Bridget is squeaking and squawking, and she wants her mama's attention. So I'll be back later for part 2.